Yeah, welcome to another episode of Mr. Z and Fifth with your host, Zaccheus and the Fifth General. Zaccheus is in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm in the building, and we're going to go this way with today's show. So, today, we're not going to talk about Eminem's album. Quite frankly, we're not interested. What we're going to talk about right now is Hollywood is very funny and crafty, and I know we've had shows talking about Hollywood, but we're going to go at it from this way. We're going to talk about the stereotypes perpetuated specifically for black relationships in Hollywood. For those who've seen recently, you know, Queen and Slim, A Fall from Grace, you know, Tyler Perry's Netflix movie. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're gonna go through some movies through the years. Not everything, because we ain't got all that time. But we're just gonna go through the years. We're gonna talk about what the positive ones and the negative ones, and how in Hollywood the negative ones usually make the more money. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
That's the one Hollywood doesn't mind putting their money behind. They don't have a problem putting money behind a black movie where the black woman and the black man is toxic, especially the black man.
Yeah.
They love it when the black man is toxic. You know what I'm saying? But then we're going to talk about not only black movies written by white writers, but, you know, some of the black movies written by black folks and how they have fell for the trick bag of getting the bag, per se, but then writing it a certain way so that they can still get rich off of that. I mean, you know, Lee Daniels is a great example of that. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how all them brothers are on Empire. I mean, all of them ain't got no sense, man. All of them. You know?
Man.
You know? And then, you know, anyway. So let's get to it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you seen that movie Love Jones, right? Zaccheus?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You know, The Best Man.
Lorenz Tate.
Right, Lorenz Tate, Neil Long. The Best Man.
The Best Man, yes. Oh, yes.
You know, the first one and the second one. Love and Basketball.
Love and Basketball, what a classic. That thing, the movie classics. Yeah, man.
Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar is another one. Yeah.
Now, Brown Sugar is definitely a classic.
Classic.
I'm going to get to that in a minute. Soul Food.
Soul Food, definitely. You know, that tune called Mama. Every time I think about Soul Food, I think about the song called Mama. You know.
Yeah. And then we grew up watching shows like The Cosby, Cosby Show, Martin. You know, movies, shows and movies that had actual black love in it. You know.
Yes.
You know. Yes. But then but then we also have in these movies and television shows black dysfunction. And that's never good. That's never good. All right. So we're just gonna talk about black relationships. Let me just kind of break this in. Yo, man, what's your perception of black relationships in film? Do you think that some of that stuff we could learn from? Zaccheus?
Well, let me break it down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is that when you talk about relationships in film, sometimes it's portrayed to teach us.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's portrayed to show them sometimes they air the ugly part of a negative relationship on TV. Or no, not on TV, but on film. Just to relay a message. Or like maybe like a message like abuse. Or a message or a message where there's infidelity involved, you know. There's a lot of sometimes with some of these movies like Waiting to Exhale.
Yep.
Was a big time back then in the 90s, the early 90s when Whitney Houston, you know, Angela Bassett, the late and great Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett,
Loretta Devine,
you know, Devine,
Layla Rashawn,
Layla Rashawn. Great film. The film but I remember back then in that film, that particular film,
Yeah.
how it was a male bashing film.
Yeah.
No, it was a male bashing film. Feeling that, oh man, look at this.
Except for one man.
Yeah.
And that was, or possibly two. Gregory Hines' character, for the most part, was positive, and and Wesley Snipes' character at the very end
was positive.
Yeah,
was positive. Yeah. So you had all these men in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Two that was positive in the film, that was embracing our sisters. And it's like you look at that way back. That was back in the 90s. You look at that movie, and you say that, wow. And there's a lot, but believe it or not, that movie started a frenzy with her sisters burning up, with Angela Bassett burning the clothes.
Put the clothes in the car.
I'm gonna burn this car and burn his clothes.
Word.
So you look at films like that, but you also look at films like The Preacher's Wife.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Preacher's Wife, well, starring Whitney Houston, Denzel Washington.
I'm glad you brought that up. I almost forgot about that.
You look at films like that, which was, of course, I think Denzel was playing like the jealous angel, but still, it was like a, it was like a film. It was just the portray. It was around Christmas time, but it showed a little positivity in that film.
Yeah,
it showed a little positivity in that film. It wasn't all negative. It showed a little. It was an joyful movie.
Yeah.
If you look at those, if you pay attention to those films, but you can learn a lot from these films. You can just sit down and you can just break the films down, and when you break the films down, you can just see where you can depict and learn from them. Not I know, but I know everybody knows about you say John Singleton's Baby Boy.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Movie comes on BET like dang near 3 days a week.
Yeah, it was
you know what I'm saying?
It was going on BET a lot.
Of course.
You know what? The movie was so clear.
The BET Awards.
He did a good job.
I got a joke. Every time the BET Awards comes on, after the program shuts off, Baby Boy's next.
It's so true. It's so true. That movie is played. It is in heavy rotation year after year.
It's played to death, man.
But I'm telling you.
But talk about. Okay, so you brought up Baby Boy.
Yeah, I brought up Baby Boy.
Break down the bad example of a relationship in that movie, because
Jody. Okay, yeah. Well, Jody, that was played by Tyrese, was depicted as the boy that have two baby mamas.
Jesus.
He had two baby mamas. He was he had two baby mamas, but he was also in his mom's crib. Always in his mom. He lived in his mom's crib, but yet he holding up his little child and saying, "Man, I make pretty babies." And that right there, that's why in a way, I look at that. You could just look at that movie and say that, listen, they definitely stereotyped us. But John Singleton wanted to portray that this is what some of these, this is what some black relationships are going through. They look like. This is what it looks like sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get into physical confrontations, and sometimes you get into arguments and you get into cheating, because I know Taraji P. Henson was playing the sister that and always blaming Jody. You always cheating on me, Jody. You cheating on me. Why you always cheating on me? That's why I hate you. Why you always cheating on me, Jody? I'm tired of you, Jody.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you, Jody. She went from saying I hate you, Jody, to I love you, Jody.
That relationship was toxic, B.
Yeah, that's some crazy scenes. And here comes brother out of prison. Here comes Snoop Dogg out of prison. Big dog Snoop Dogg out of prison. Them, I'm coming to see you. Yeah, I'm coming to get me some love. I'm coming to get some love. And then it's that movie. You can learn a lot from that, because the thing is that it teaches that movie was but to really hit a message from home, it teaches other black men to grow up. To say, listen, this is what it looks like when you get your girl pregnant and you're cheating on her. It looks ugly.
Yeah,
it doesn't look good. It looks ugly. But it's other lessons you learn in there too. Because I know Ving Rhames had a lot of lessons in that too.
Guns
when you
and
look
butter.
at the character, Ving Rhames' character, he had a lot of lessons in that too. So.
Hey, Jody, you want some eggs?
Dude was standing butt naked with drinking the Kool-Aid in the fridge. Talking about, you want some eggs, Jody? You want some eggs? But it also teaches black men to grow up. Listen. He said, "This is not my house. This is your house. No, this is my house." Jody, listen, Mama was still young, and she was trying to get a swerve on with some Ving Rhames.
See?
and she was not having Jody staying over there all stayed up in the crib, just trying to smooch off of her, then getting girls pregnant. But some of these films you could learn from, man. I'm telling you, and you could just learn from these films, and it was a message in that film. It was saying that, listen, we need to start running from our responsibilities. We need to stay home. We need to be with our women. We need to love our women. We need to raise our kids with our women, and we need to start more appreciating, because she was saying, because I remember Taraji P was saying, "I'm stuck up, and you got me stuck. You take my keys, you go. You got me stuck up in the house in the heat." I'm like, yo, man, that ain't right, man. Take her out too. But it teaches you, and a lot of these films teaches you, these black films in relationship, it teaches you the dynamics of what we go through, what some couples go through day after day on a daily basis, and it teaches you a lot. I know, you know who written some good ones too? T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes had
Women Dialed Loose. There was a lot of problems in that movie. But what you got? What's Jump in the Broom? Jump in the Broom. You got that one.
Which was a power. When you would go I'm not so.
All right, we're having some technical difficulties here. I'm gonna have Zaccheus repeat that last part he said because it keeps going in and out. Zaccheus, you there?
Yes.
Right. I'm gonna need you to repeat what you said because the audio was running in and out. Where you last left off at, you was talking about T.D. Jakes films.
Yes, and I also picked the film called Woman Thou Art Loose, and
there was some problems in that movie though, so I don't know if that's the best example of a black relationship.
In a way, it is and it's not. A little bit, it is, it's not. It just teaches you that. It teaches you in that film. It teaches you that that sometimes it's not the best choice to bring somebody new into. Let's say if it's a single woman, I'm talking about this to the single black women that have children. Sometimes it's not best to bring a stranger into the house right away. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to give that time. Wait for that child to grow. I know it sounds crazy, and I know you're young. You want to get your swerve on, but sometimes because that film was very deep. Sometimes it's good to wait till that child grow up, because in that film, the older woman she had a daughter, young daughter, and Clinton Powell, I think it's Clinton Powell.
Yeah, Clifford.
Yeah, Powell. He was playing the dirty old man that was looking at the little girl and abusing, sexually abusing her, the little girl, molesting her, and it's not in that film. It teaches you it's not in sometimes not in your best interest to bring a man that's not. He's a stranger to your daughter, and you got to be careful who you bring in your house. You got to be careful who you let in your house, And I'm talking towards the sisters, single sisters that have kids and have young daughters. You got to be careful who you let in your house. You got to be careful of that. If your spirit says that if your spirit don't receive him, let him go. Don't have him come into your house. Don't have him come into your house. Don't have him come into your house. If he's loving, and if he's a spiritual man, he's loving, marry him. Make sure that you're married, and make sure that your children are extremely comfortable around them. But do not allow a stranger to come in, especially if he doesn't know God, especially if he's not a spiritual person. Kids even sense it. When the person is not right, you let them in your house right away, man. I mean, that's what you get from a movie like a movie like Thou Art Loosed by T.D. Jakes. He had a lot of movies though. I mean, and there's other films too that depicts black love and love and basketball. Who can forget Love and Basketball? Who can forget that? Was it Omar Epps?
Mm-hmm.
Omar Epps and Sanaa Late Nathan.
Well,
man.
okay, in that movie, hold on. All right. In that movie, it ended positive. But I want to speak more to the goals because we can't talk about every movie. So it ended positive. But I would say that in its modern time, and I don't know if it's still modern because the movie came out some years ago, but Brown Sugar, in my opinion, actually was more positive than I would say than some of the stuff that we saw in The Best Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because here we had two friends who loved each other, but didn't necessarily know how to. The fear was the friendship and the relationship and how it would hurt the friendship.
Yes.
But they both, long story short, but they both respected each other. But they had to both get to a point where they were finally ready for each other. Because, at the end, Tay was like, I don't want to be your friend no more. Meaning, he wanted to cross that line and never go back. And wish and hope for the best. So that was a positive one. Now, when you see The Wood, the only thing with Tay Dick's character in The Wood is that, he was a little scared and all that, and he stood up Lisa Ray on the wedding day and all of that, and that wasn't too good. But you got to see how these men, when they were kids, growing up, and how they had to mature on how to treat a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you saw those dynamics. And I thought in that movie, that had a positive ending as well. You know what I'm saying? The problem that we have is when they perpetuate the negative stereotypes of the black man and the sister. The black man is always the typical thug, but then he's also a sexual deviant. He's trying to knock down anything and everything. So they always do that. Like you said with Baby Boy, he's got two baby mamas, not even married, not even trying to get married, out there doing stuff and not apologizing for it. You know what I'm saying? The stereotypical black woman, she's loud, rambunctious, obnoxious, catty, and all this, and vanity driven. They always put that. And I don't like when they put those two together and put them into a relationship on film, because they know that that's drama filled. And they put more money and more of a viewing presence behind that, because they know, like you said in the beginning of the program, that we learn from this stuff. But see, are you gonna follow it? So you shouldn't follow something that's toxic. And that's the issue with that. So let's get into Queen and Slim real quick, because there was a lot of controversy around this movie. I'll just speak specifically to the black relationship part. Here's a man who meets a woman on Tinder. When he takes her out, she doesn't really respect the man. Okay? She has an attitude. She's like, well, why did you come here? Why do you eat here? Or is that all you can afford? And the brother's response is, well, it's black owned. So we're talking about a woman who's betraying a sister who doesn't even have knowledge of self. Strike one.
Mm-hmm.
Strike two. She causes the brother to get distracted on the road. He's swerving. So then the cop pulls him over. And the cop is addressing the man, the driver, but she's addressing the cop. Strike two. Strike two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, throughout the movie, you know, they get into a situation where the cop gets killed, whatever. I'll spoil it, whatever. Y'all should have seen the movie by now. Okay? All right? It's January. So, you see that situation. The man ends up being in a situation where they both, where they're now on the run.
Man.
Okay?
They're on the run.
Strike
man. Yeah.
3. So then later on out throughout the movie, so then they tend to finally have a common ground with each other. You know what I'm saying? I guess they somewhat now fall in love or whatever the heck you want to call what that was, you know? And then in the end of the movie, this man, the sister gets shot and killed by the police. And then he picks up the sister, walking towards the cops, and then he gets killed too.
It's crazy.
I think of it this way: the brother, it's the portrayal. It's what they do. The brother would be alive if he didn't even meet her. That's basically where we're at with that movie.
Yeah, you know.
And why they gotta have the sister acting like that? And why they gotta have the brother acting all soft? That right there is not right. Because you know they have this thing about making brothers docile. You know? Because there's two things. The brother is either docile, weak, or Yaza boss type of character, or he's, you know, what they like, what like people like to say today, toxic masculinity, and he's on some villain type, you know, stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's out there cussing at everybody and trying to run people down and be this, you know, black beast. You know, that's basically the other part of Hollywood that they don't mind doing.
Right.
So I got a problem with that. There was some good and bad to the Queen and Slim movie. So yeah, I highlighted the bad because the bad is what showcased the most of that movie, and that's what I'm getting to. Is that it's we big up, not we, but society will big up a movie like Queen and Slim, but downplay a movie like Brown Sugar.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They'll give Queen and Slim stars right across and Brown Sugar 2 stars.
Exactly.
So it's like this. That movie, it was more like, can I meet? He got out of the car, he screamed at the police officer, and he's like, he wound up shooting the cop in the process of trying to protect her.
They were wrestling, because the cop shot her.
Right. And that right there just to pick that, oh yes, we, despite the mistakes our sisters make, we're supposed to protect them. Yeah, we're supposed to protect them, especially when it comes to threats like that.
Well, hold on, real quick, because we have to make sure that this gets spoken right now. Let me just say that when it comes to our black women, yes, we should protect them. In return, black women must understand that to not put us in situations where we're dying for them. That's what needs to be driven home. Because that was the problem in that movie. I don't want this movie to teach sisters that it's okay to act like that because you always have the brother there that's gonna save you. That's misguidance.
Right.
Because the brother was trying to protect her when he was telling her to stop talking.
Right.
And it's not like he was telling her to stop talking because he was being some chauvinistic pig. He was trying to make sure that they go home. That's protecting the sister too.
Yeah.
That's what I want sisters to understand. The brother was like, let me handle this with this cop so that we can go home alive. But no, she had to, quote unquote, run a mouth. But that's the negative perception that they place on sisters in film. And that I don't like. Because not every sister acts like that. Because that didn't happen in The Hate U Give.
Yes. Oh, yes.
In The Hate U Give, it was the other way around. She was trying to tell the young brother, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though in The Hate U Give, that high school girl, because that was like some young stuff, so it's not the same. It's not about, that wasn't a black man and a black woman. That was a black girl and a black boy.
Yes.
But she had enough sense as a young black girl that her father taught her, yo, you know the game, but the idea is to get home.
Yes. Which we do got to worry about.
Right. So that was the difference between Queen and Slim and Hate U Give. But, in that perspective, Zaccheus, you go ahead because you wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
Yes, and in particular, a lot of these particular movies, sometimes it shows sisters being very like hostile and very ghetto, extremely to a point. The ghetto snipers. I mean, hardcore ghetto to the max. Loud, voice loud and opinionated. Not wrong with being opinionated. It's all about your approach. It's all about your approach. Nothing wrong with being opinionated, but it's all about your approach. But confrontational. It's just a lot of these films, some of these films, they show that. They portray that. This is what Hollywood would put money behind because it's entertaining. Even when it comes to, you look at reality shows too. But on these films, they're portrayed as hostile and very up-tempo. I mean, to a point where it gets like their male counterparts in trouble. Because it's like, you're loud, you're acting loud. I'm laying low on the cut. I'm just watching you get all hostile. But yet, you know that the man is there. You're gonna make me have to put my life on the line because you're so hostile. Now, it's these films are meant to show, like Queen and Slim was a film that was meant to show that, listen. Now, the only thing I can think about Queen and Slim right now is about they portray the Black Bunny and Clyde kind of thing. But in that film, that particular film, it showed the love that they had that they developed for each other, although their back was against the wall. And I admired that how that sister stuck with her brother. Most in a situation like that, I'm not saying all, but some will say, listen, I gotta get out of here. They'll either take off and run, or they'll stick it out. And I admire in that film how that sister stuck it out with the brother. She stuck it out. The odds are against us. He stuck it. She just stuck it out. They stuck it out with each other. And that's what that film was. We rowdy die until we die. We rowdy. It was graphic and it was lewd and it was wild, but it just showed that it's like when you're married or when you're to get in a relationship, it's the world against you. It showed us that despite the dilemma we're in, despite the dramas and the hostile situations that we get in, we stick together no matter what. And that film showed me that. And I'm sure to maybe someone like yourself and some other it showed you that no matter what the test and no matter how tough trials and tribulations come our way, we're gonna stick it out no matter what. We're gonna ride together, and we're gonna, and like they said in the film, they were dancing one time in the film, and they said that, listen, we're gonna ride this out together. I don't know what's gonna happen in the end, and the killing at the end surprised me, but that's it. Just portrayed love, like endless love, that we will ride it together. We end this together. So, and that's for me to sum up that film right there. And I just admire
it did in a way, but it was also just some shaky stuff there. You know, that's the problem. It's like
the only thing is,
it's like this. You have the overall point. You have the overall conclusion, but then you have the overall message that was portrayed. You have to make sure that the overall message that is portrayed matches with the whole content of what you're trying. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just say this better. The conclusion is one thing. How we get to the conclusion matters. When you have a movie or you have a story, the one thing you always have to keep in mind is that if you're going to have a positive ending, which we hope you do, if you're going to have a positive ending, you have to shun what was negative. If you don't do a good job of doing that, then what you get out of it mostly is the negative, but only a small piece of the positive. You got to have the positive outweigh the negative. If you tell a movie, I have to give an example here. If you show a movie about a man getting rich off of selling crack and coke and heroin, you can't make in the message selling crack, coke, and heroin fun. You can't make that fun. And you have to show that lifestyle is a short life. That never wins. So a lot of times they'll do this. The drug dealer or whatever either gets killed or he gets locked up and then he becomes a snitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You do that. But you have to make sure that selling crack and dope and all that, you got to make sure that was shunned. To say, yo, don't never do that, because what we did put us in a situation. You should never admire to be a Scarface. You should never admire to be Frank Lucas. You know what I'm saying? You should never admire to be these people. You should not be these
Bumpy
people.
Johnson, nothing like that. Yeah,
exactly. You should never be these people. You should be more like Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael.
Yes,
that's what you should. That's what you should aspire to be. So when it comes to black love in Hollywood, you have to make sure that it ends with at least some type of legacy that's going to be built in the end.
Yeah,
that happened with The Best Man. There was a lot that happened in The Best Man. That movie was full of everything, but at the end he ended up marrying that woman, and then they had a family, and they showed their family in Best Man Holiday, and they stayed together to the end. She had cancer, but they stayed together in the end. That was positive. Yeah. I admired the character that Morris Chestnut played in that film, because he had that's what you call real love. Yep. That's what you call and you want to have a mate that you marry, that when you marry her, when you marry vice versa, that they get out. Little things that
see if they're gonna. You're doing all the calling. But a day, one tell when you're married. Gonna be especially it's the to that was sticking up with the men, man. And just go through the tough times. I've seen some sisters sticking up with men with no jobs. I've seen that before. I experienced that before. No job, no work, and she's still by your side. Most women, if they don't care about you, they leave. They walk out the door. You gotta appreciate the ones that love you. You have to do that. And a lot of these films, it shows that. But some of these films, they show that, but also some of these films show, they show a negative aspect of it too. Raunchy ghetto. Our brother's always cheating. Not taking care of their responsibility. Always gang banging on the street. So, and they have a good woman at home, but they didn't know how to treat her right. It's also messages in some hood films that portray black love too. So,
name an example, please, if you're gonna take it there.
Okay, like Boys in the Hood. I'm gonna go to way back in 1992. Boys in the Hood was a classic film. Man.
Okay, speak on it.
They had Cuba Gooding and they had Nia Long.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's like he had a girl. He had a girl in that film, and that girl, although it was a lot of negative in the losing of his brother, it's like Nia Long stuck it out with him,
Mm-hmm.
And that's some hood classics too that portrayed black love. Now I'm gonna go into, what? Let me see. I think I can tap into. Yes, I can tap into love and basketball. I can tap into that. It was not really hood fabulous. It was more sports, but I can tap into that though. Yeah, they had a love for each. Although it's like when somebody love that when you're in love, your heart is with that person. He was gonna marry somebody else. Omar Epps was gonna marry somebody else, but Sanaa Lathan said, "I'll play you for your love." Wow, deep. That's deep, man. That's really deep. That's deep. So
Right.
Films like that, you can reflect on and look at, and we can still look at today and just enjoy it, but learn from it too, So yeah, man. So I really enjoyed it, man, and I hope y'all enjoyed this segment too of the Mr. Vegan Fifth Show. Yeah.
All right. I hope we conveyed the message that we was trying to on this show. I mean, hope we led by the same example that I was saying, how movies, if they're gonna portray us, they have to do it in a positive way. They got to make sure, and I hope that we was able to, they got to make sure that they ended, that the movies that we need to respect are the ones that showcase us right, and we need to not support the ones that don't showcase us right. That's in all films, but specifically with black relationships, you know, they're not portrayed positively and looked at to be respected in the same capacity white cast films are with their love stories. They're not, and that's Hollywood for you, because a lot of these movies are not even written by black people, and the ones that are, you know, we gotta hold them accountable, like Tyler Perry movies. I gotta say this before we get out of here, because I don't want to miss this. Off air, I was talking about Tyler Perry movies, how a lot of times in his movies, the man is like the dog, man. He's like, I mean, good Lord. But it's easy. Yeah. It's easy to market a woman's pain to a female audience because they feel that they can relate to that, so they'll watch that. So that's a tactic that he learned.
Yo, I just wanted to say real quickly. Remember the film called The Diary of a Mad Black Woman? That movie was crazy.
Yeah.
The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That brother treated her so bad and abused her so bad that she just fell into the arms of somebody else. Said, you know what? That movie had a lesson in it too, but it just portrayed that the brother treated her so bad that at the end of the film it was positive but yet negative. The positive aspect of that film was at the end of the film, it showed she was like, yes, I love you and I forgive you, but she was still moving on. I love you, I forgive you, but I'm still moving on. It's because God has showed her something beautiful. And I think for her to, and the way of her moving on in that film was for her to get on with Shamar Moore. But the thing is that
but you got it. Okay,
she forgave him.
But you can't leave out what she did to Shamar Moore before she got to that point, because it actually didn't go that smooth. We got to remember that she, yes, got with Shamar, but then what did she do? She went back to her ex-husband when he got shot.
Because she felt sorry. Yeah, because she felt sorry for him.
Okay,
you know, she wanted to help him,
but
she still had to care for him.
But that hurt Shamar Moore's character. And then she got to the point at the end of the movie where she was like, okay, well, I need to go back to him. Now, because of his feelings for her, he had to just say, you know what, all right, fine. But the thing is that she wasn't really ready. That's what that movie showed. And yeah, she felt sorry for him because she wanted vengeance. She wanted to get back at her husband. But she basically put the rug down. She made more and more's character step on the rug. And then in return, she pulled that rug from under him. And then at the end of the movie, here he is. She brought the rug back. And wanted him to step on it. Again.
Yeah, and also too, I have to bring this up real quickly before we come to a close, that a lot of our sisters, some of our sisters, not a lot, but some of our sisters take abuse, and we're so comfortable with it that we don't know how to let go. We don't know how to say, we don't know our self-worth. That's what I want to say. We don't know our self-worth, that we sit there and we take the abuse, whether it's emotional abuse or physical abuse. You take the abuse, but you don't know how to let go. If you learn your self-worth, and this is when it comes to like brothers like yourself, that you will meet a woman and then you say that you want to settle down and you want to embrace her and you want to treat her like a queen, but she doesn't. But she says, yeah, I want a good man, but she don't know how to appreciate it because she's not used to that kind of treatment. So a lot of us have to know our self-worth. I mean, she, at the end of the movie, in A Diary of a Mad Black Woman, I think she realized her self-worth at the end when she said that, okay, I forgive you, but I'm moving on. But I forgive you, but she still had but yet she still at the end, she still put the divorce papers on the dinner table, and with the ring, with the wedding band, she was moving on. Her self-worth, she was eventually valuing her self-worth to move on. So I want to just put in that, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough. So
yeah,
we're gonna
definitely.
we're gonna get up out of here. Zaccheus, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Wayne Zaccheus Bacchus on Facebook. Also, you can hit me up on at Zaccheus B73 on Instagram. Also on Twitter, Wayne Bacchus 2 at Wayne Bacchus 2 on Twitter. Yeah.
Yo, reach me at the Fifth General on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right. This was another episode of Mrs. E and Fifth. We'll see y'all next time. All right. Peace.